We're back with episode 10 of The Bachelor, and we have so much to talk about. The woman gets some much-needed private time with Matt. Matt has an emotional conversation with his dad, and insecurities about the relationship start to boil over. I'm Gabriella, and this is your Bachelor Recap. It's Fantasy Suites, and there's a lot to unpack here. The girls are sharing with each other what their personal relationships with Matt are like, which is causing them to look at their own relationships and feel even more insecure. I think it's torture to have to watch other women go on an overnight date with the man they want to marry. I can't even imagine how emotionally draining that could be. Matt has some big decisions to make of his own. Before he even goes on his first date, he has an important conversation with someone very unexpected, his father. We all know about Matt's family life and background, and this conversation was something Matt really needed.
I still have a lot of fear about what commitment looks like based on him and my mom's relationship, and that's not something I want to carry with me.
His relationship with his father has clearly shaped all the other relationships in his life, and Matt needed clarity.
To know where your head was at so that I don't make those same mistakes going forward.
I don't wish to make that same mistake.
Ultimately, while Matt may have not gotten all the answers he needed, he was able to tell his father he forgave him in hopes that this is a starting point for future conversations. After that heavy conversation, Matt was ready for his date with Michelle, which just so happened to be at a spa. I'm sure he definitely needed it. They enter a room with sticks of butter, oatmeal, and a milk bath with no instructions in sight. But somehow, they knew exactly what they needed to do.
How do you not grow closer after smearing butter over somebody?
After cleaning all that butter up, they have a serious talk about their potential future together and what that might look like. Michelle is probably the biggest realist on this season. She gets deep and reflects on her parents' marriage, which prompts her to ask Matt to dig a little deeper and think about the long term.
Everyone talks about like falling in love, and being in love. And I think those are really important conversations, but I think it's also super important to talk about like staying in love. Like, how do you plan to stay in love? The type of love like changes when things get hard, or even when you have a family or kids are involved in. You're exhausted, you're tired, and it might look a little different, but...
Matt isn't as vulnerable as he might think. Michelle encourages him to open up more and help her understand what makes Matt who he is. But the most important part of the Fantasy Suites is the uninterrupted time with absolutely no cameras, no producers, and just the two of them to ask and answer anything and everything they need before Matt makes his final decision. We don't exactly know what happened behind closed doors, but the morning after, Michelle is still optimistic and excited about her future with Matt. The girls regrettably ask her how the date went, and Michelle can instantly see that these ladies are having a hard time.
You guys are struggling, I can see that. Yeah.
This week is especially tough for the girls. They are struggling between being excited about their relationship and being jealous and insecure. Bree is getting ready for a date, but her confidence in her relationship is starting to dwindle.
I mean, last week I was given the last rose, and so it's hard for me to not question if my relationship with him is enough. And that's hard.
Even though she's feeling doubts, Bree still gives this relationship everything she's got. Matt takes her out into the woods for a good old-fashioned camping trip, which is ironic because Bree is the least outdoorsy contestant on the show.
No. We have to tie it up at the top.
You're right.
It's clear as day these two can have a lot of fun together, but there's something missing between them. Especially compared to Michelle's date, they never really got past the surface. Until they get to dinner. Bree asks Matt where his mind is at with an engagement in the upcoming week. And at first, Matt seems like he doesn't know the answer to this question, but he shares that the conversation with his father makes it easier for him to see himself on one knee in the end.
The point of that conversation was to remind myself that that's not who I am. You know, like, I'm my own man, and I think and act independently of how he does.
Yeah.
It took me having that conversation with him to have me in that place where I think I need to be ready for this commitment.
This overnight date confirms to Bree that she's completely in love with him, but I'm not sure Matt feels the same way. After Bree leaves, Matt talks about how he's concerned with the decision to send someone home after spending so much intimate time together. Maybe it's just editing, but it's clear to me he's talking about Bree.
Bree's the second woman that's told me that she's in love with me. As incredible as that is to hear, it's not going to be easy sending someone home after spending this time together.
Bree gets back to the chateau to talk about her date with the other girls, and Rachel's feeling less and less confident with herself and her relationship with Matt.
I'm worried about how he feels, what he's thinking. I'm freaking out.
She can't seem to get past Matt's relationships with the other women, which carries into her date. She immediately starts dropping hints that something is on her mind. She isn't present, and Matt is starting to pick up on it. Rachel can't take it anymore, and she has to pull Matt aside for a conversation.
Like, I've been getting in my mind, thinking, like, if your mind's changed about how you feel for me and everything, you know? And if, you know, like, you don't see that future with me at this point, and I just don't know how I would be able to, like, handle losing you.
Matt reassures her that she has nothing to worry about, and he's falling in love with her. This makes her attitude completely change because she knows his words are very intentional. Matt has only expressed love with one person, and he's maintained that the entire season. I can imagine after seeing how expressive he is about his feelings towards Rachel, that he will pick anyone else.
I'm out with you as I'm falling in love with you.
I believe you. You know, I'm like head over heels for you. I'm completely in love with you.
Matt shares with Rachel his feelings about his conversation with his dad. Although she couldn't relate, she was still able to reassure him that his path in life has made him the man he is.
Of course, you would have chosen to have it differently growing up, but I think that you are the man that you are today because of all of those things, or in spite of not having him there.
Rachel finally gets the uninterrupted time she desperately wanted, and it seems like this was all worth the wait. They might have gone the smallest room, but they had the best view. They actually never showed their morning after, but I'm very curious as to what that looked like. The girls meet for their final rose ceremony together, and you can just feel the anxious energy in the room. Ultimately, Matt has to make a heartbreaking decision to send someone home.
Rachel. Rachel, will you accept this rose?
With Rachel getting the final rose, this means we say a tearful goodbye to Bree.
I can't be upset or I can't be angry, but I can be really sad and disappointed and hurt. But I don't know that that's at you. I don't know what that's at. So
I knew Bree was going home, but I didn't expect it to hurt so bad. You could clearly tell she struggled to be vulnerable, and to see him break her heart after everything she gave up was unbearable to watch. But Matt can only choose one woman, and he has to follow his heart. Actually, I just posted on Tuesday a message from Bree's mom, which was touching and also such a mom post. Someone who doesn't choose you all the time, every time, is not your person. You are deserving of the most beautiful love story. So what is meant for you will find you. I applaud your courage, maturity, and especially your vulnerability. You were yourself throughout the process, and that, my love, is enough. You are always enough. I know that love will find you because you encompass love, and now you are that much closer to it. But in the meantime, girl, you better get your JOB back. P.S. Now we can burn the bunny. And now we have our final two, Rachel and Michelle. Next week's preview show an unprecedented level of emotion, and Matt even seems to consider calling it all off. Join me next week for Matt's season finale. Don't forget to like, comment, and follow at The Bachelor Recap for all things Bachelor.